Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is out in theaters this weekend, guys, and I've gone out and seen it. I gotta tell you, my impressions of it are that I liked it. I liked this movie. Okay, so this is the third movie, and this is going to be the final outing of this cast for Guardians. The synopsis briefly reads, still reeling from the loss of Gamora, Peter Quill rallies his team to defend the universe and one of their own, a mission that could mean the end of the Guardians if not successful. Okay, we knew that going in, and all of my worries that did you need to know what happened in, like, say, the holiday special or anything like that? Did you need to know Endgame and stuff like that? Sort of. Between Guardians Volume 2 and Volume 3, there is a bit of a gap there. You need to know a little bit about that. But they do a good enough job with the dialogue to fill people in if you haven't seen those other ones, right? But as a trilogy now, like James Gunn envisioned this as a trilogy, this iteration of the Guardians, this team, and this movie wrapped them up beautifully, epically. And I'll say it to you straight up, this is my favorite Guardians of the Galaxy movie, by far. And oddly enough, they've left it in such a way that you could maybe somewhere, years down the road, come back to this. Now that's slightly spoilers, but not really. The cast in this is really, really awesome. So, the bad guy, let's talk about him. Chuck Iwuji? Sorry if I'm butchering that name. The High Evolutionary. Oh God. You watch what this guy's doing on the screen and you're like, why wasn't Kang like this, man? Like, he makes Kang look like small potatoes. And Kang is supposed to be the big bad guy for the Avengers, right? This guy is like, takes it to that whole other level. My God. You'll be like, more of that, please. More of this. The other characters have some good, like every character in this has a moment to shine. Drax, Mantis. The scenes in here that I thought would bother me with like these visual effects and stuff, Gunn, I think, was aware of it because this is very minimal. It's not chock full of it. You actually do get realistic, photorealistic sets, like here when they're on an alternate Earth kind of thing. They all have good chemistry. Karen Gillan's Nebula really stands out for me in this. She comes out in the forefront. How does Adam Warlock fit into this? With Elizabeth Debicki, good to see her back. I'll always want to see her in stuff. I guess for me, that was perhaps the weakest part of the film, because you know that he's strong, you know he's powerful, and you know he's got powers. You just don't know how powerful. You don't know how strong he is. And that's sort of what I mean by leaving the door open for more to be told, right? With his character especially. He starts off kind of like the muscle of the bad guys, and then, well, I don't want to get into too much of the spoilers, but I think Will Poulter did a good job for what he was given. For sure. Gamora, the Gamora storyline, yeah. I think that most people may not like the way that story resolved. Like, they'll be like, but, you know, that's not what I wanted to see. But in the way of that universe is, it makes sense. And I agreed with the way that the story ended with her. Again, it's just one of those things where it's leaving the door open for possibilities of things still continuing on later on when they decide that perhaps they'll may want to come back to this property. Overall, guys, it's a fun experience. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes. It has its laughs in there. Some could say that the comedy doesn't land at certain points. I thought it did, and especially with that dog. Cosmo, the dog, Maria Bakalova did thumbs up. Thumbs up in my book. Some of the weird comedy that, like, Drax had about like being invisible and stuff like that kind of mentality of the comedy. Yeah, that humor didn't land at times. But overall, like the heart of it was about Rocket, right? What happened to him? We learn all about his backstory, and some people will say, well, that's just sidestepping the main story, learning about like all the like you see that he's younger there. So you know that there's going to be like flashbacks as to him in the lab and stuff. You know that from the trailers. We see that stuff in the trailers, and that stuff really works for me. It really did. There's the bad guys again. When he comes around um, in the movie, which is like really basically only in the start, and then it's all about him, right? It's all about trying to save him from the guy who made him, which is no big putting two and two together. This is the guy who made him, right? So it's about their conflict and how the Guardians are just trying to like rescue him and stuff. So that's basically what the bulk of the movie is. And I think a lot of people would have preferred the bulk of the movie to be about Quill trying to get back with Gamora, right? But that one, it kind of takes a step to the background for, the movie. So it's kind of like, I thought it'd be about that, and it's not really. It's more about Rocket. And it's fine, guys. I think it's fine. Some people say, well, going off to that planet and having that Nathan Fillion storyline in there and stuff is too side mission-y, right? But it's just fun. I just thought it was fun. And that's what you're going to feel when you come out of this movie. Let's go over to the tomato meter and see what people are saying about it as of 11:40 a.m. on a Friday, just as it's coming out. 80% by critics, 232 reviews by the critics, 96 by the audience, and that's what I expect. Because when I came out of this, my immediate response was, this is easily, hands down, trumps anything that came out in Phase 4. Yes, even Shang-Chi, for the diehard people out there. This is a far superior film, almost on every level, since Endgame. I said that this was the best MCU film since Endgame. Because you knew that going into it, this was going to be the last time for this crew to be together. You knew that going in. And it does pull at the heartstrings at times, because you know that the stakes are high. At any given moment here, somebody could cash out their chips. We're not going to see them again anymore, right? And they do a good job with that, especially towards the end, where it's kind of like it's all on the line, right? And you feel that peril. At least I did. There's the dog. I love that dog. Oh, such a good doggy. Yeah, there you go. There's a little nod, if you know what I'm talking about, if you've seen it. This storyline here, this Yondu, his right-hand man, played by James Gunn's brother, that one was kind of like meh. But I guess that was necessary, again, to, as I said, to set things up for stuff to happen on down the line, kind of thing, right? So let's take a look at some of the snapshot reviews. ABC News says, for all its backsliding into bleak, stop torturing Bradley Cooper's talking raccoon. This spirited summer kickoff delivers the requisite thrill ride, and ends Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy with a sweet sorrow of saying goodbye to these space dorks. It's been a trip. Yeah, because it is the last time. And they do make it fairly apparent it is the last time. Boston Globe says, a movie is only as good as its bad guy, and I dreaded having to spend time with him. And that's a bad review? No, actually, I like the bad guy. So that guy didn't like... Yeah, I don't know what the heck you're smoking. Wall Street Journal says, who didn't like it, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is a blah bluster that, like other recent Marvel disappointments, jogs along from one visually extravagant, strenuously jokey set piece to another without offering much in the way of either dramatic engagement or actually funny ideas. What? No, it's totally like when they get out to that other planet that sort of looks like Earth that we see, there's something going on there culturally with what the bad guy is trying to do with that place that I found very fascinating, and that worked for me. Okay, let's just get to the good reviews, what people are saying. Movie Freak says, not only is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 my favorite film of the series, but it's also quite possibly the best entry in the entire MCU. Well, I wouldn't go that far. It's not as good as Infinity War and Endgame. It's not as good as, say, actually, even the first Iron Man, right? Those still got to be up there. Um, and Spider-Man No Way Home, like, is like way far above those ones, for me at least. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 now sits next to Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Back to the Futurist trilogies. I don't know about that. Greatest trilogies of all time. Because I know a lot of people are still mixed on the second one. What it did do, what Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 did make me want to do is go back and watch the second one. Because I was meh on the second one. But yeah, it makes me want to go back and watch that one again. That one happens before Endgame. So uh, yeah. But that's what it made me want to do. I just want to just be thankful that this team, this crew is together, right? And you get to see them take their bow. That's what this movie really is. You get to see them take their bow and say, like, thank you for letting us entertain you for 3 films. And it's been a blast. This is one of the few that I would actually go and watch this movie again in the theater. I know I should go and watch other movies like Sisu and like that, but I'd fully consider going to watch this one again. James Gunn and the company have put a stamp on the honest to God wackiest and most heartfelt Marvel franchise ever. Yeah. So where would I rank Guardians of the Galaxy? Not quite high as 80%. Or sorry, not quite as high as 96%, but I'm somewhere around the critics. 8 out of 10 seems about right for me. Also, in fact, I might even say 8.5. That's pretty high. 8.5 for Guardians of the Galaxy. There could be something in the rewatch there that I'll pick up where it'll be kind of like some pacing issues and stuff like that. Some of the jokes won't land as well as the second time, but there's still that heart of the movie about the team. We're a team. And they said team more than they used the word family, because I guess that would just draw too much similarity to Fast and Furious. But that's pretty much what they are. They are a family. And wow, what an accomplishment. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a thumbs up in my book, guys. 8.5 out of 10. There it is. I have got no problem saying it for sure. Go and see it if you can in the theater on the big screen. It's totally worthwhile. I saw it in the AVX format, so I got the best sound quality that you could get. So awesome. Awesome in my books. Let me know if you saw it and what you thought about it in the comments below, and we will talk about it. You're watching Mirror Domains. All right, let's address those 2 post-credit scenes now. The first one sets up the next team. That's pretty much all it does, because we know from watching this one that this is the last time for this group of people to be done. That's what the mid-credit scene does, and it shows Adam Warlock going to be part of the team there. I was trying to dance around that. But I hope they show more of that. Can I pull up Adam Warlock? Get Adam Warlock up here. Where's that image? There he is. Yeah. I guess we won't be seeing Elizabeth Debicki. That sucks. I like her. I love. Hey, sorry. Anyway, yeah. So he's going to be part of the team from going forward here. Sorry, spoiler alert. It's a given. We know that he was going to be like the muscle kind of thing. If somebody were to say that he was a little bit too goofy, yeah, I would say so. But it didn't detract from the movie for me. It didn't. Okay, so I can't talk about the final one without saying too much spoilers. So let's just go into a little bit of a spoiler discussion here. We'll start off with the first and obvious one. Who dies? Nobody. Nobody dies. I thought, for crying out loud, I thought in this one that I thought at least Drax, and everybody thought that Rocket was going to be like the first candidate to be like, oh yeah, you're setting it up here for a heartbreak that Rocket's going to die in this one, but Rocket is going to be the leader of the new team. So there you go. It's like it wasn't Rocket. Everybody thought that Drax would be another contender for someone that would pass on. That we've heard Batista say countless times that he's getting tired of putting on the makeup and stuff like that. He wants to be done with this kind of a role and go on to other projects. And they did Drax well. They closed off Drax storyline very well in this. You felt for him, and you felt good with the way that he was going to be in. So nobody died. They kind of toyed around with it was going to be Quill, that he was going to sacrifice himself to save one of them, and that's how they were going to put like the definitive kind of stamp on this. But no, nobody died. And of course, that Quill shows up in the second post-credit scene. So we'll talk about that. He goes back to Earth to be with his grandfather. And then it just ends with it saying, Star-Lord will return. So those quotes that we've seen in the press of Chris Pratt going around saying that, he's open to returning to the franchise, which kind of spoils the fact that he survives. Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with that. And he doesn't necessarily have to be back to mentor or, counsel the next Guardians team. He doesn't have to be. There is another storyline that got left hanging that I thought would be a lot more interesting for a sequel, or something else that Quill could do, because they left the door open for it by having the story be more about Rocket. People, like, if somebody said that they didn't like the way that Gamora's storyline ended with her going back to the Reavers or whatever. Is it the Reavers? Ravengers or whatever? Reavers. With her going back to them. They didn't like that it should be about Quill and her getting back together and having love. Well, they've left the door open for that possibility to happen. And as I said, going into it, there is a fascinating story there that if that was the focus of the movie, like, yeah, she's Gamora, but she's not the same Gamora that Quill fell in love with. She's a totally different person. And there's dramatic storylines in there that if you amplified those and focused with those ideas, which they sort of loosely touched on in Guardians 3, but if you went back into it and kind of like, yeah, Quill is on Earth, but he feels like this love. There's this part of him that's gone, and yeah, he wants to honor his family there on Earth, but he goes off eventually to try to find her, and he's kind of like the no quit attitude that he wants just to be part of her life, even if they can't be lovers like before. That he wants to have like that friendship with her, and it'd be a little bit more of a dramatic story than people would be wanting from a Quill storyline, but there's something there that I think that could be developed into something very moving, for sure. Although I think Zoe Saldana said that she wants to be done with it too, wearing the green makeup and everything like that. But she did good in this one too, and I like the relationship she had with Nebula as well, with the nodding and the grunting noises that they would make. But that's what I thought about the two post-credit scenes. Okay. Good way to start off May. It really was. Okay. Let's put up the chat capture again. I think we're pretty much through everything here today. As I said, there really hasn't been that much that's dropped. I'm going to publish that short about Mortal Kombat 2. And yeah. 6 Disney live action remakes that definitely don't need sequels. Guardians of the 3